Hi guys, welcome to another interview of Talks with TEC. My name is Jibran and I'm here with my friends Ekta and Navya. First up, I hope you guys are amazing. I know this is a sad time, but I really hope that you guys are finding happiness in small things in life. That being said, let's start today's session. So, fairy tales. I mean, who doesn't like fairy tales? You know, romantic stories of two people who are madly in love and they're fighting against the whole world, against all odds to just stay together. And in the end, they end up winning and love conquers each and everything in the world. But when it comes to reality, life is not sunshines and flowers always. And a happy ending is not always guaranteed. Maybe that's why people search for these endings in novels and fairy tales. So our today's guest is someone who's raised a very important question. I mean, love is something that is super important and we should all have love for each and every creation in the universe. But is love alone enough to fight and win each and every battle of your life? Ladies and gentlemen, the author of the amazing and unique book, More Than Us, please welcome Ryan Jones. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good too. How's quarantine been for you? How's life?
It's pretty, I would say it's as close to normal as possible here, and I've kind of like made my own path of normalcy as well. We are in stage 3, so things are opened, but with that being said, masks are still mandatory. So it's as normal as it could possibly be, but you know what? I just kind of chill and read my books, so it's good.
That's lovely. That's lovely. We should always find and try to find things, not even during a pandemic, but always we should try and find things that make us happy.
And I feel like kind of the pandemic has kind of reminded us of that as well.
Exactly. That's lovely, ma'am. So we can start with the questions whenever you're ready. So our very first question for you is that we know how amazing and thoughtfully you've written the novel. We totally love it. The concept, the characters, the ending, it's just everything is perfect and fits in. So what inspired you to write More Than Us?
So I guess there's like many different facets or a few different facets that kind of inspired the story. Obviously, like you can't write without reading. Reading is quite essential if you want to be a writer. And I think around the time that I wrote More Than Us, YA contemporary, which is More Than Us's genre, became my favorite genre. So I think that kind of inspired me to find that genre because I've been writing before this book, but nothing kind of sat as like comfortably with me as YA contemporary. So I've definitely found my niche genre to write. So that was really cool. And also during the time when I was writing More Than Us, I was like in a slump. Like I was really sad for no reason. I haven't like been diagnosed with anything yet. I actually do have my first therapy appointment this coming week. So that's exciting. But that was the very first time that I kind of felt this like period of sadness without an explanation. So I poured out my emotions through writing, and the book was created. And then I would say the third main thing that inspired the story was I went to school with a family. They had a brother who was my age, but I was actually closest to the older sister because my older sister was friends with her, and the boy ended up committing suicide. So if you see in the dedication page that this novel is actually dedicated to them and anyone who experiences depression.
That's so nice and that's so sweet of you. First off, we hope you get well soon and everything's really nice and you be healthy and back on track as soon as possible. And contemporary suits you a lot. I mean, the book that you've written, the way that you've written, it's just amazing.
Thank you.
Very nice. So that brings me to the second question. That is, I read this, I saw this in some movie, but it's actually something that hit me very much. All right. Funniest thing about mental illness is that people want you to pretend that you don't have it.
Yeah.
So I want your views on what do you think about that?
People may kind of say that because it's not on the surface, not always on the surface, I should say. It doesn't resonate as physical pain, right? So it's not like you can see it on a daily basis. It's not evident to people around you because it's not right in front of you. But just because it's not right in front of you doesn't mean it's real. And I feel like because it's so skin deep that people forget that if you're having a bad mental health day, that means you're ill too, and you still need to take care of yourself. So I feel like we just live in a society where it's like, oh, well, if you don't have a broken arm, then if you have a sad day, you should just get over that. And it's like, no, I feel like you should treat any mental illness just like a physical illness because you are in a way ill and you need to take care of yourself, right?
The thing that you said that, mental illness is not treated as in physical illness because it's not visible. That is something really sad because, in this modern world when everything is getting so open and everybody is talking about everything, to be honestly speaking, there's a very good change that mental illness has brought right now. Everybody wants to talk about it, but still, I think somewhere fail to acknowledge the fact that it's something very real and something that needs to be taken care of. So that gets me to the third question, that is, novel sends out a very, very amazing message. I'm not I won't call myself a very regular reader, but I have kind of read my fair share of books. One thing that is really amazing that I want to say to you is that a lot of books, a lot of people write about love, depression, but there's always a very happy ending, because people want to see happy ending. Very few people who have actually tried to show what's real out there. So the work you're doing is really commendable. The question that I want to ask you is that the book that you wrote sends out the message that only love can't cure depression, which is very important. So can you please talk more about it?
Typically, I don't think only love can cure a mental illness, but I feel like it's the place to start because it has to start with yourself. You have to have that caring and loving and adoration for yourself in order to get you on the right path to recovery, whether it's loving yourself enough to go see a therapist, loving yourself enough to have faith in yourself that you can get over this, loving yourself enough to open up to your friends and family about your mental illness. So I wouldn't necessarily say that love is the only thing, but I feel like love is definitely the starting point to get you onto that path, and also opening yourself up to love from others and opening yourself up to help from others as well.
Love is something that is really important. Help is also required. I think that asking a bit more from love itself, which is really sad. All right, that gets me to the next question, that is, in a hypothetical situation, which of the character of the book do you relate to the most?
Definitely say Harper. And this was my first novel where I really delved into writing from a male character's perspective. And I had the most fun writing his dialogue and writing his internal thoughts. He will forever hold such a special place in my heart. And I feel like I related to him most because everything I was feeling went into his character. Even though Laura is still equally a main character, but I was feeling went into Harper because at that time he was the one dealing with depression and his mental illness was more at the forefront. Laura still dealt with anxiety and she had a lot of baggage from her past as well, but definitely Harper. Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. Let's get the last question for the main section. One of our favorite lines from your book is that, I wish there was a way to protect people from themselves, but also the people who need protection can do that. Please tell us more about it. How did this thing come up? Because this line, just hits differently.
Well, I know for me, I beat myself up a lot if things don't go as planned, if I make mistakes, but that's all a part of being human. So I know for me, when things are bad, I'm my own worst critic. I'm my own worst enemy. And that kind of what gets me into those negative spirals of thoughts. And I can't speak for everyone else, but I feel like maybe other people experience that as well. So in a way, we do have the ability to change our mindset and try to change our thoughts. And I know some days it can be so difficult. And if you can't do it those days, just lay in bed, do whatever your body needs you to do. But in a way, we can protect ourselves just by trying to do little things that make us feel even a tiniest spark of joy, or just telling yourself in your head that you love yourself, that you're beautiful, and that you're worth it. So in that way, we can try to protect ourselves when we are not in the best mental health space.
And someone has rightly said that our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Each one of us out there is capable of taking care of themselves and loving themselves. You just need to realize it, and you need to realize it at the right time. And we really hope that you do that. So that gets us to the end of our main section. Now it's time for my favorite section, which we like to call the rapid fire round. It's going to be tailor-made for Ryan, and we really hope that you also enjoy it as much as we do. You have to answer really quickly, okay? And
okay.
You have to come up with impromptu and amazing answers. So we'll just love this section too much. Right? The first question of rapid fire is your top 3 favorite books that you would suggest people to definitely read.
Oh my goodness. I literally just talked about it on my Bookstagram too. What's it? I'm having a brain fart. We All Love the Beautiful Girls by Joanne Proulx, Proulx. It's a very vivid, emotional literary fiction novel. That was actually one of the very first books I read this year. And I loved the plot so much. There were so many layers. It was so detailed. The character development was phenomenal. My second favorite book would have to actually be a teen dystopian novel by Scott Westerfeld. It's called Afterworlds. And I always mention that as one of my favorite books because that's the book that got me into book blogging and like back into reading. I've always been a reader, but I kind of sort of fell out of it a little bit in high school and then got back into it again in grade 12 when I started creative writing. So definitely that book got me into book blogging. And my third favorite book, oh my goodness. I would say one of my other like favorite books would be Break in Case of Emergency by Brian Francis. It's a YA contemporary novel that surrounds mental health. And I feel like, oh, that book made me cry. It made me laugh. Brian Francis just talked about that subject in such a real and raw and relatable way.
That's amazing. And guys, please do read More Than Us. I guarantee you're gonna love that book, and that's really amazing. So that all these three books and More Than Us is really amazing. So that gets me to the next question. That is your favorite music type and the song that you're currently hooked on.
Favorite music type. Okay. My go-to genre to listen to is indie or like indie pop, just because it's kind of like relaxing and like, I don't know, it kind of just soothes my soul a lot. I actually am in love with Taylor Swift's new album because this is her first ever indie album. The vibes I get from it are so good. So I definitely think The One is like one of my most favorite songs right now as well. I also really like Billie Eilish because she's kind of like made like her own like pop indie vibe as well. I literally love all her songs. So yeah, I would probably say right now like my go-to albums are anything by Billie Eilish and then Taylor Swift's Folklore album.
Next question is gonna be a bit difficult. So,
okay.
You know, in India we have this question that we ask, are you a chai or coffee person? You know, chai is basically tea. So we ask them, are you a tea or coffee person? So I'm gonna ask you, are you a chai or coffee person?
I would honestly say chai because honestly I couldn't go a day without drinking tea. I love the taste of coffee, but sometimes I feel like the caffeine is too much and I actually haven't been drinking it as much just because I actually don't need it to get me through my day. So I'll either have like an Earl Grey tea. Like I will usually start with a black tea and then kind of like go into herbal teas. I drink all kinds of tea. So I would definitely say right now I'm definitely more of a tea drinker than I am a coffee drinker, but I do love both.
All right. So chai wins. Anyways, I'm going to take that. Chai wins. I'm a chai person and chai wins. I'm so happy. So the next question is one weird habit or superstition that you believe in.
One weird habit or superstition. Okay. You know when like you're holding hands with your like significant other and like there's a pole in the way, I refuse to let go of hands. I'm like, no, you have to go my way or I have to go your way. It's bad luck. That's superstition.
That is so sweet. That's so cute. And that's really amazing. And we checked out your profile also and you guys look really cute together. So kudos to you too.
Thank you.
All right. The next question is, so you work as an editor too, right? So you're editing a lot of material and a lot of pieces. So one piece that you edited and you totally fell in love with.
Oh, interesting. Oh gosh. I think that my favorite piece that I've edited is for an author called, his name is D.W. Soar. He's actually, I'm still in like the process of editing his books. He's got like a really hefty fantasy series going on right now. And I feel like, I mean, he was my first client for my freelance editing business. So he may have like a special place in my heart because of that. But I think it also made me grow as an editor because fantasy novels are complex and they can be, it takes more time to edit. So it really kind of made me like grow on my editing skills, or I should say my book editing skills. So I'd probably say his fantasy series. His first book, just give me 1 second. I'm going to look at his first book comes out at the end of August. I edited this book. It's called Dark Days by D.W. Soar.
Dark Days, a huge shout out and all the best for the success of Dark Days. We really hope that it gets really soon and it gets really amazing. It's a lot of likes and becomes a bestseller. Next question is one fear that you have or something that puts you off.
The unknown. The unknown has kind of always made me anxious, like, not knowing how the future is going to pan out and just things like that. Yeah, basically just the unknown. And I try not to think about it. I try to just live in the present because of that.
Makes it beautiful too, the unknown. The future is unknown, so that's what makes it beautiful too. Next question. Okay, it's more of like a personal question. So what would you like to do on your low days? What do you usually do?
On my low days. So do you want like a day in the life of like my chill weekends? I usually get up and like water my plants, I make a really good breakfast. I always like to have a good breakfast, and I always make a cup of tea. And then honestly, like I get into comfy clothes, burn a candle, and then I just like read and nap all day. I'll go for a walk if it's like really nice out and I want to get some vitamin D, but typically it's comfy clothes and reading.
Comfort is priority. So everyone out there, you need to be lazy sometimes too. Okay?
Yes.
Everyone
Yes.
needs to be lazy and needs to have good tea, good book, and just enjoy life as it is. So a very, very important question. I think this is gonna make you think a lot. So who is your favorite amongst Benji, Ari, and Apollo? Who's your favorite? Your three crats. So I knew that's the reason I said this is gonna be a very, very important question. But there's gonna be some amount of.
I wouldn't say I have a favorite, but I feel like Benjamin will always have a particular place in my heart that no other animal can, just because he is my own first pet I've adopted. Like that is specifically mine, not a family pet. So he'll always have like that special place in my heart, but I don't have favorites, but he has that special place in my heart because he was my very first baby.
That's so nice and so sweet. And with that, unfortunately, we've come to the end of our interview, but that was really, really amazing, really fun and knowledgeable. So before we say goodbyes, anything that you want like to share with our viewers or us? One small message, anything?
Oh, goodness. I feel like I would just like to say to people that if you're feeling off or if you're not in the best headspace, give yourself what you need. If it's laying in bed all day, calling sick to work, just do it. Let yourself relax. Sometimes it's not good to force yourself to do things. So I would just say listen to your body and listen to what your mind needs when you're in those mental health spaces.
Love. You should be your priority. And with that, that was the really, really amazing and talented Ryan Jones with you. We thank you from the bottom of our heart, taking out your time and coming with us.